Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Always excited to be back.
Today we're going deep into the world of product development.
Ooh, one of my favorite topics.
We've got these two articles that really got me thinking about how we build products that truly meet customer needs.
I think we can all relate to that challenge.
For sure, and these articles introduce a framework called jobs to be done.
Yeah, the JTBD framework, it's all about understanding what job the customer is hiring your product to do.
It's a really interesting way of looking at things.
It is, and I think it can be really helpful for avoiding those common pitfalls we all fall into.
Like what?
Well, one of the articles talks about this thing called the engineering mind trap.
Okay, the engineering mind trap, what's that all about?
It's this tendency for engineers to get so caught up in the technical details that they lose sight of the bigger picture.
I can definitely see how that could happen.
The author actually shares a personal story about how they've been coding since they were a kid, and they used to build all these products.
Wow, since childhood.
Yeah, but they were so focused on making the code perfect that they ended up with a bunch of products that never actually saw the light of day.
Oh no. So all that work and no one ever got to use it.
Exactly, and it's a common trap that a lot of product developers fall into.
Because we love to tinker and build things.
We do, and it's important to have that passion.
But we also need to make sure we're building things that people actually need and want.
Absolutely. We can't let perfection be the enemy of good.
Right. So how do we avoid falling into that trap?
Well, it's where problem space analysis comes in.
Problem space analysis. I like the sound of that.
It's all about understanding the customer's needs and pain points before you even start thinking about solutions.
Okay, so before we jump into building anything, we need to take a step back and really understand the problem we're trying to solve.
Exactly. And one of the best ways to do that is through customer interviews.
Customer interviews that make sense talk to the people who are actually experiencing the problem.
Precisely. You want to get into their heads and understand their world.
So it's like detective work.
I like that analogy. You're gathering clues to understand the context of the problem.
But how do we make sure we're getting good information from these interviews?
That's a great question. And the articles highlight some really important tips.
Like what?
Well, one of the biggest things is to ask open-ended questions.
Open-ended questions as opposed to...
Leading questions, you don't want to steer the customer in a particular direction.
Right. You want to let them share their experiences in their own words.
Exactly. So instead of asking something like, do you find it frustrating when X happens?
Which kind of implies that they should find it frustrating.
Right. You could ask something like, can you walk me through the last time you experienced this problem?
That's much more open-ended.
It is, and it encourages the customer to share their story without any judgment or bias.
I see. And what are some other examples of good open-ended questions?
Well, you could ask things like, what's the hardest part about achieving this goal? Or what are your biggest frustrations with the current solution?
Okay, those are really helpful examples.
And the key is to really listen to their responses.
Active listening.
Exactly. You're not just waiting for your turn to talk. You're actively trying to understand their perspective.
Because they're the experts on their own experiences.
Precisely. And the article uses a great quote, "The devil is in the details."
Ooh, I like that one.
It's not just about what customers say, but also how they say it.
So their tone of voice, their body language, all of those nonverbal cues.
Exactly. Paying attention to those details can reveal a lot about their true feelings and motivations.
Like reading between the lines.
You got it. And it's one of the most valuable skills you can develop as a product developer.
So we've done our customer interviews. We've gathered all this rich data now. What?
We need a way to organize and make sense of all that information.
Because it can be overwhelming, right? Especially if you've talked to a lot of people.
Absolutely. And there are a lot of great tools out there that can help with this.
Like what?
Well, one tool that the articles mention is Dovetail.
Dovetail. Have you ever used that?
I have. It's a really powerful platform for qualitative research.
What makes it so helpful?
Well, imagine you've got all these notes and recordings from your customer interviews.
Yeah, piles of data.
Dovetail helps you bring all that data together in one place.
Okay, so it's a central repository.
It is, and you can tag key themes, create highlights, and even visualize patterns in the data.
That sounds incredibly useful, especially when you're dealing with a lot of information.
It is. It's like having a research assistant that helps you identify those aha moments.
I love that. And it frees up your brain to do the higher level thinking.
Exactly. And another great thing about Dovetail is that it's collaborative.
So you can involve your whole team in the analysis process.
Precisely. You can invite other team members to review the data, add their own insights, and work together to make sense of it all.
Because two heads are better than one.
Exactly. And sometimes even more heads are even better.
So we've talked about the engineering mind trap and the importance of problem space analysis.
And the power of customer interviews and tools like Dovetail.
This is all great stuff. But how do we actually start to define the problem we're trying to solve?
Well, that's where we get into the nitty-gritty of understanding the three components of a problem.
Okay, the three components of a problem, what are those?
We have the functional component, the emotional component, and the social component.
Okay, break that down for me.
Let's take an example. Let's say we're trying to build a better to-do list app.
A to-do list app, I use one every day.
Me too.
Oh.
So the functional component is the practical need, the app addresses.
So in this case, it's helping users track their tasks and manage their time effectively.
Exactly. It's about getting things done.
Makes sense, but there's more to it than just checking things off a list, right?
Absolutely. There's an emotional component as well.
The emotional component. So how the user feels about managing their to-do list.
Exactly. Are they stressed and overwhelmed, or do they feel a sense of accomplishment when they check things off?
I can definitely relate to both of those feelings.
Me too. And it's important to understand those emotions because they can have a big impact on how people use your product.
So even a simple to-do list app has an emotional layer to it.
It absolutely does. And then we have the social component.
The social component, how does using this app impact the user's interactions with others?
Well, maybe they want to be seen as organized and reliable by their colleagues or friends.
Right. Or maybe they want to collaborate on tasks more effectively with their team.
You got it. So by understanding all three components,
Functional, emotional, and social.
we can create a to-do list app that not only helps people get things done,
But also addresses their emotional needs and social aspirations.
exactly. And that's a powerful combination.
This is really fascinating stuff.
It is. And it's all part of this bigger picture of understanding the jobs to be done framework.
The JTBD framework, which we'll dive into more in the next part of our deep dive.
I can't wait to explore that with you.
Me too. It's going to be good.
It is. Stay tuned.
We'll be right back after a short break. All right, so this JTBD framework, this jobs to be done framework, sounds like a game changer.
It really is. It's about getting to the core of what drives customer behavior.
So how does it actually work in practice?
Well, the article uses this really interesting example.
Okay, I'm all ears.
It talks about a technician working in a medical device reprocessing department.
Medical device reprocessing department.
Yeah, MDRD for short.
MDRD, I've never heard of that.
Basically, it's a critical role in hospitals and healthcare facilities.
Okay, so what do these technicians do?
They're responsible for cleaning, sterilizing, and reassembling surgical instruments.
So making sure everything is safe and ready for the next surgery.
Exactly. It's a really important job.
It sounds like it, and probably pretty complex.
Oh, absolutely. There's a very specific workflow with multiple phases to ensure everything is handled correctly.
I can imagine precision and efficiency are key.
Absolutely. Any mistakes could have serious consequences.
So high stakes.
Very high stakes. And the article focuses on one specific job within this workflow,
Which is?
assembling surgical kits quickly and accurately.
Okay, so assembling those kits that the surgeons need
Exactly. And that's the job that we need to understand in depth.
through the lens of the JTBD framework.
Precisely, we need to consider the functional, emotional, and social dimensions of this job.
So it's not just about the practical steps of putting the kit together.
It's about understanding the whole context, the technician's needs and motivations.
Okay, so let's break it down, starting with the functional needs.
All right, so functionally, the technician needs a system that helps them locate the right instruments quickly.
So they're not wasting time searching.
Exactly. And they also need to make sure all the components are present and accounted for.
Nothing missing, nothing broken.
Right. And the system needs to guide them through the assembly process in a clear and error-free way.
You take a step-by-step guide.
Sort of, but it needs to be more than just a list of instructions.
Because there's that emotional component, too.
Exactly. The technician might feel a sense of urgency to get the kits assembled quickly.
Because surgeries are waiting.
Right. And they might also feel anxious about making mistakes.
Which is totally understandable given the high stakes.
Absolutely. So the product needs to be designed in a way that reduces anxiety and provides reassurance.
Maybe through clear progress indicators or built-in checks and balances.
Those are great examples. And then we have the social component.
The social component. So how does assembling these surgical kits impact the technician's interactions with others?
Well, they're probably working as part of a larger team, so communication and coordination are crucial.
Making sure everyone is on the same page.
Exactly. And they might also feel a sense of responsibility to the surgeons and patients who rely on these instruments.
So there's a human element to it as well.
Absolutely. It's not just about the task, it's about the people.
I'm starting to see how understanding the job from all these angles can lead to a much more insightful product design.
It's a real eye-opener, isn't it?
It is, and the article makes this distinction between functional jobs and aspirational jobs.
Right. Those are two important concepts to understand.
So what's the difference?
A functional job is very concrete and action-oriented.
The what of the job.
Exactly. In our MDRD example, it's the act of assembling the surgical kit quickly and accurately.
Okay, that makes sense. So what's an aspirational job then?
An aspirational job is more about the why behind the job.
Okay, the motivation.
It's the desired outcome or state of being that the person performing the job hopes to achieve.
So for the MDRD technician, an aspirational job might be something like, I want to be recognized as a highly skilled and reliable member of the team.
Exactly. Or it could be, I want to contribute to the best possible patient care.
Those are powerful motivators.
They are, and they can be really valuable in shaping our product design and even our marketing messaging.
Because if we understand what people aspire to, we can create products that help them achieve those aspirations.
Precisely. But the article also cautions against letting aspirations completely define the functional target job.
Why is that?
Because if we focus too much on the aspirations, we risk losing sight of the core task that needs to be accomplished.
The functional job is the foundation.
Exactly. We need to strike a balance.
So how do we do that?
Well, the article provides this helpful three-step approach for identifying the functional target job.
I'm ready for it. Lay it on me.
First, the target job should focus on discrete functional goals.
Breaking it down into manageable chunks.
Exactly. Second, the job statement should start with a verb.
Making it action-oriented.
Right. Third, it should be singular, focusing on one specific task at a time.
Okay, so no multitasking.
And finally, it should avoid mentioning any existing technologies or solutions.
So no preconceived notions.
Exactly. It's about understanding the essence of the job without any biases.
That's a great checklist. So in our MDRD example, the functional target job might be, as an MDRD technician, I need to assemble the surgical kit quickly and accurately.
You nailed it. That's a clear, concise, and actionable statement.
I'm getting the hang of this. So we've got the functional target job down pat. Where do those aspirations come in?
That's where we dive into the why behind the what.
Understanding the deeper motivation.
Exactly. Aspirations help us understand the emotional and social drivers behind the functional job.
So for our MDRD technician, they might aspire to be seen as a valuable team member.
Right. Or they might be driven by a desire to contribute to patient safety.
And those aspirations can inform our product design.
Absolutely. Maybe we incorporate features that make it easier for technicians to track their contributions or share their expertise with others.
So they feel a sense of accomplishment and recognition.
Exactly. And that can be a powerful motivator.
It's like we're not just building a product, we're building a solution that helps people achieve their goals.
You got it. That's the beauty of the JTBD framework.
I'm really starting to see the power of this framework.
It's a game changer for sure.
And I love how it incorporates those emotional and social dimensions.
Because at the end of the day, we're all human.
We are, and we all have aspirations that drive our behavior.
And by understanding those aspirations, we can create products that truly resonate with people.
Products that make a difference.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about.
I'm still thinking about that MDRD technician and their aspirations.
It's a powerful example, isn't it?
It really highlights how the JTBD framework can help us create products that are more than just functional.
Products that connect with people on a deeper level.
And ultimately, that's what leads to success, right?
Absolutely. When your product aligns with people's needs and aspirations.
It's a win-win.
Exactly. The customer gets a product that solves their problem.
And the company gets a loyal customer.
It's all about creating that perfect match between product value and customer needs.
That's the essence of product market fit.
You got it. And the JTBD framework is a powerful tool for achieving that.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have from the engineering mind track to the three components of a problem.
And of course, the JTBD framework itself.
It's been a whirlwind tour of the world of product development.
But I feel like I've learned so much.
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm already starting to see how I can apply these concepts to my own work.
That's the best part, isn't it? When you can take these ideas and put them into practice.
Absolutely. It's not just theory. It's practical knowledge that can make a real difference.
So for all of you listening out there, I encourage you to start thinking about the jobs your products are being hired to do.
And don't forget about those aspirations.
The B goals that drive customer behavior.
Because when you understand those deeper motivations,
you can create products that truly change people's lives.
And that's what it's all about, making a positive impact on the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of product development.
It's been a pleasure as always.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep creating amazing products.
And keep those aspirations high.
See you soon.